Wait, it says it's showtime. Oh, there.
There we are. All right.
Wait, it says it's showtime, but are we live?
Folks, there's always there's the show and there's the show before the show.
Where's the show before the show?
And we're right in midstream of show before the show. So happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday, Karen.
Happy Friday, Lenny and world. I've already had a few calls with colleagues overseas, and they were, like, it's the end of the day, we're good, and I'm a little bit envious that that's happened for them. So
I know. Yeah, I still got a couple more meetings scheduled, and then some work.
Yeah.
Right there with the meetings aren't work, right? Meetings are meetings. Then there's the work happens in the evenings and weekends. It
Which
seems
really,
like.
by the way, that's a broken system. So by the way, I keep talking about my Aura Ring because I'm a little bit obsessed about the personal data that's coming into my Aura Ring. But one of the things that it's tracking now is it tracks your stress and it tracks your resilience and all this other stuff. And Mondays, when we try to protect our Mondays for meatless Mondays, where we really minimize the meetings, I sleep better and I have a lower stress and stress response, higher resilience by the next morning. So like Tuesdays, I'm like fully recovered because I had this kind of a day. So I find that really interesting. The days that I'm, 6 of my 8-hour workday, 8-hour as if, our meetings, my stress levels are really high throughout the day. And same with jazz, like meetings we got to do something about that because we are not designed to be getting the work done at night. Don't you think? I don't mean us. I mean, collectively our world, like that's.
I hear you, but that has been, I mean, it's almost, we have to talk about, but this is interesting for me. The concept of a 40-hour work week disappeared 30 years ago.
Absolutely.
I work 6 days a week.
Yeah.
On average, 12 hours a day.
I know. And I think that that's been the norm. I'm just telling you now that I'm tracking personal data around it and what it does to my stress levels. Mm-hmm. I think that's new input, being able, and that's sort of the point of this wearables, this collecting our personal data is what do we do with it was one of the bigger questions. What will I do with this? And it's just making me go, what will I do with this? If my days on Mondays, I have a lower stress response, then maybe I need to rethink the rest of my week. That's all.
One more point of change in a rapidly changing world. So I know, and we're going to get to wearables too, but why don't we start with one of our other fun topics.
Yeah, I really want to talk about this article that we published this week and kind of what's coming down the pike for it. If you haven't seen it yet, it's called Unveiling the Market Research Game Changer, the Disturbing Tactics of Paid for Your Say. And if you didn't hear us talking about this last week, this is an initiative that I was brought into kind of for my editorial opinion. I'll be facilitating a kind of town hall conversation next week. I don't know if we're pre-recording or sharing it live, but more to come on that. 10K Humans is hosting that. We'll be doing a panel on it at IIX North America. But Catherine Hill and Desiree Cox, Catherine Hill of Advanced Insights and Desiree Cox of 10K Humans collaborated on an article. They have gone somewhat undercover to expose this business model of a company that is training individuals to get into as many research studies as they can, deceptively, teaching them tricks and tips. She said she didn't like to call it lying. She likes to think of it as being who the client needs you to be. And so all of the ins and outs. And it's really disturbing. You can see screenshots. Companies in our industry have been called out by name. Studies are being circulated, and there's a very large audience, growing audience of over 1,000. And every day it changes. And it's a really unnerving model when you dig into it. So check out the article and follow what these two individuals, and of course, Carrie Heck is sort of overseeing what 10K Humans is doing, but focus on what we can do about it, because this model, it's shocking because it's monetized, it's commercialized a training program. Like it is a legitimate, maybe not legitimate, it is a business model where this woman is getting paid to teach people to be deceptive. That's what's unnerving and upsetting about it. It's not that we know that these things haven't existed. Cheaters and repeaters have been around for a long time. but it's a different model that is unnerving to people. And the best thing that you can do really is learn from the techniques. We're approaching this whole thing with brainstorming. What can we do? What can recruiters do? There's some great tips in the bottom of this article. So after your jaw hits the ground, when you read about what's happening, there's advice,
some good advice.
Good advice, that have to do with like the phone numbers and learning what people are doing to get into these studies.
Yeah,
Anyway.
and biometric measures. Yeah, and good segue. Right, this topic continues to come up because it continues to be a problem, and and guess be clear for our audience, the paid for your say is more qualitatively focused, not quant. And we've been talking about the the issues of bots, et cetera, et cetera. So we have two more articles to share. One from our friends at COG Predictive Insights on fraudulent responses, shedding light on the darker side of market research. And they pull out an interesting number, which has context to our next article. 15, according to Fast Company, 15 to 30% of all market research data collected is fraudulent. 30% is the average number that I assume. And I know that it is, I've seen it as high as 50 to 60%, depending upon the sample source. So, and we'll quantify that here in just a minute. Now, what's interesting about that is thinking about methodological changes and how that could impact it. So CRG Predictive Insights, they use prediction markets as part of their core offering. And, it is a different model that is harder to for fraud because of the nature of the questions and how it's structured. So some really great points in thinking about that. What can we do to adapt new methodologies to help combat this? And then the next article was Kantar and Realeyes joining forces to fix survey fraud. And here's a kind of a mind-boggling number. Survey results fuel $1 trillion in business decisions.
Right.
$1 trillion.
I know. It's really it's the extraordinary importance of all of this. Now, we've been talking about data quality for years, right? This is not like the importance of it hasn't been underscored enough in this industry, I suppose, is one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is the stakes are getting higher and the methods are getting more prolific based on technology and then, innovative thinking, right? So, and going back to this paid for your say model, yesterday, the undercover agents that are in the network right now are like, well, she's got a spinoff for mock trials. And you just sit there and you think, seriously? And we talked, I think, last week about how there's like, medical research that people are tricking their way into. Like, it's unnerving to think about what's happening in a world where we really need honest data and data integrity really badly, because we are, anyway, we could go down a slippery slope of what's possible, but we just need the players in this industry to really do everything they can. Otherwise, the industry itself is really at risk because, if our clients aren't, if they aren't assured, if end clients aren't assured that you are doing everything you can to keep that number at 30, not 60, for example. Right.
Well, and so one of the recommendations that Catherine and Desiree suggested is biometrics. And that is the basis of the Realeyes approach. Is facial coding, kind of a biometric verification. So I think that's important. There's other, and again, it has methodological implications. We know that there's companies we've talked about early on, Brox AI, shout out to them, that their methodology is a video interview with respondents that then is an open end and it's analyzed for what they do. And guys, we have to go there as an industry. We have to think about defense, right? Things like we're uncovering with the pay for your say, or the what was the folks that Yes, Moss, right. The bot farm, Botgate, those things. But we also have to think about changing our methodologies because the world is changing. Technology.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
Uh, and
Oh,
uh, and utilizing these technologies as we lean into them as well. So it's a big deal, guys.
yeah.
This we're going to keep harping on this because it is foundational.
Yeah,
So
and I mean, I think there's also, and I'd love to see more of this kind of in conversation. If you share the article online, add to the comments about tools. So, in the article they talk about tools to verify the images that are being shared. If you're a recruiter and you ask for, please share a picture of this product in your home, and you don't know actually if that is their home or if that is someone else's home, and they've crowdsourced a photo of this product. But there are tools. Well, that's happening, right? They're sharing photos of
yes.
products. It's so disturbing. So, but there's
Oh,
tools.
I'm thinking of Sora. We'll get there in a minute. You know what that does to the whole damn thing. But anyway, go ahead.
Anyway,
Yeah.
there's tools to identify if the photo has appeared elsewhere or been elsewhere on the internet. There are tools to identify if a phone number really is a phone number, or if it's a phone number created just for this study. Like, look to the article, look at the tools, share more tools. The best thing that we can do is come together as an industry and really share actionable tips to combat this at every level, even at that one. So
yes. And I'll say one last thing. I know we have a lot to cover, so I don't want to beat on this too much, but there is an art to be made as well, that how do we lean into this, right? Obviously, people are looking for an opportunity,
right,
a side hustle.
right,
Got it,
right.
We battled with the state of California not to designate market research as a side hustle, but the reality is that, being on panels, things like that, is to an extent. So are there changes that we can make to get the best of both worlds, to lean into that consumer demand from an engagement standpoint, while also ensuring that we have the quality? And I think that there's a bigger conversation to be had in that respect as well. But that's
let me plug the article you were quoted in, because I do adore you.
oh
It's the power market research strategy by transforming views on incentives. So you spoke in this article as an advisor to virtual incentives. And here's what you said, Lenny, lest you have forgotten. We must focus on the core of market research. The role of market research is last mile data, filling in the gaps of information that are not available through existing sources. Then the prioritization to engage with humans to do that increases in importance. So it's like, if we go at, what is this really all about? And then, please, that's so important. Let's treat the individuals that are helping us meet that very important need. Anyway, well stated, sir. So
thank you. I have my moments. Jen and her team made it sound a lot smarter than I probably actually sounded.
That's not really what you said. No.
Yeah. But yes, and all these are connected topics that we just have to continue to talk about. And it's the throughput, right? Talk about the broader implications. We'll get to the 2-letter word here in a minute. It just in my mind reinforces all of these. But let's talk about Savanta for a minute.
I love this idea. Yeah, tell everyone what they're doing, and then we'll dig in.
Yeah, so Savanta launches cutting-edge customer experience framework. Introduction of a new framework by Savanta to improve customer experience and drive revenue growth. About damn time. We need something besides MPS. Sorry. And I think that's it's just a really interesting new approach, because we're in a changing world, and thinking of data-rich models to help drive for their they see they want to enable brands to better connect experience, insight with commercial applications and revenue growth, from employee experience, customer sat, CX, and user experience. Yes. And all of, because we can synthesize data now far more easily, have this 360 view, these multiple touch points, and getting beyond simply, no, not trying to throw shade at MPS. I just think it's been a useful metric. But it, and it still will be, but we should be looking at additional solutions and frameworks. So I'm glad to see innovation happening.
Me too.
And thinking about that. And lots of companies are not the only ones that are doing that. So that will change things as well as more ideas surface on trying to understand humans
Yes.
and the impact they have on the business. So
Right.
back to that $1 trillion number from
Yep. Yep.
CRG. These are not. We have to broaden our horizons sometimes, guys, and think about this, right? Research is fundamental to business success.
Right.
Period. What
Right.
we do has the entire global economy,
Yeah.
particularly on consumer-focused business, but not only,
Yeah.
is directly impacted by the business that we do.
Yeah. Right.
We have a
And it
huge
informs those very important decisions. I mean,
yes,
some of them might be smaller,
sure.
the decisions that you might be helping with, maybe smaller ones, may not, but at some point they all trickle up to this very large number.
They do.
As we said, it's a big deal. And sometimes you get the projects that are actually, those that you're going to be able to see the tangible effect, right? Sometimes there's a close correlation. Otherwise, it's steps removed. But if you look at it for the, aggregate of all of it, it's a pretty big deal. So
Absolutely.
remember why we do what we do, right? In this industry.
We absolutely. And that's probably a segue, right? There's a new product that we've all been talking about. And maybe they didn't, do all the research that they could have
I don't know.
from some of the feedback we're getting.
We're talking yet again, and maybe this will be, I still haven't tried them yet. So
Yeah.
I was going to say, maybe this will be the second to last week that we talk about Apple's Vision Pro.
Oh, probably not. No.
Because I do want to get there and try it. I do want to, my Super Bowl party last weekend, we were talking about, somebody went in and tried it out. They're super cool, right? And brands are looking into them as a shopping channel. So that's really interesting. So there's a great article that I think you had found about how brands are viewing this as a potential e-commerce avenue. So everybody should be paying attention to that. Brands, you should look into what others are considering. And at the same time, recognize that this might be still, too cool for long time use. We have another article that popped up about those early adopters are returning them within the 14-day return window. So that is also starting to happen. I guess they were launched and people got them, and now people are returning them because they're like, yeah, not ready to keep them yet. There's a bunch of reasons cited in these articles. But so yeah, this dichotomy of super cool, great business applications, and yet are consumers really ready for this technology? Probably not.
But it's coming.
Yeah.
I always, and it goes back to kind of what you mentioned. I always think of the research at Rockhopper. We had Alcatel-Lucid as a client, and we were doing all the global research for 3 and 4G applications in like 2005, 2006, right? So so way back then, right? They were looking at the world we live in now was being envisioned then. 20 years ago at this point almost. And so we can, maybe Apple misfired with this yet.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, so far, maybe not, but
iteration, right. If you think about like the concept of design thinking, which is, come up with your, do the work, come up with your prototype, and then iterate upon your prototype. Like, this is what we're watching their innovation process in action. They are learning from this current wave.
Yes.
What's coming next?
Live testing.
Absolutely. It's gonna knock the socks off this current version. I'm almost sure of it.
Yes. And they'll resolve. They're just like with the introduction of mobile or the internet, I've seen studies already talking about, brain plasticity and some of those, how we interact with technology does have physiological impact on us as a species. Let's recognize that. Some of the people were returning the Apple product because of headaches. So that's part of that process. It's almost like when does technology and healthcare merge to do clinical trials on some of these devices? Who knows? But to your point, we're learning, going through this process, and we have to continually think about adapting to the existing culture, technological trends, consumer adoption, all of those things. The days of us trying to force the issue on, no, this is how we do this. Right. It's appropriate for some things. Absolutely. Right. So, and it's going to cost a hell of a lot more to do things that way.
Right.
But in many other cases, if we are the keepers of insight into humans, then we must adapt to what the humans are doing.
Oh, can I use that as a segue?
Yes, please, please get me off my soapbox too.
Here's something that humans are doing. Okay, so first, a little context. For those of you who are tracking, we're going to the AI topic.
Yeah, here we go.
We're going into Sora right now. So if you're tracking, OpenAI unveiled AI that can instantly generate eye-popping videos. So
eye-popping doesn't do it justice.
It's super cool. And Carly, if you want to pull up the link that Lenny had, it's not in the brief, it's in the main thread because somehow or another got deleted. But it's a really cool video, right? That somebody has created through the use of AI. So here's the funny part. It's amazing. So I'm like, I want to try, naively as a human saying, I want to try. So what might I do? I go into ChatGPT and I look for a plugin because I haven't done the research to figure out how do I do this yet. So I find a plugin. There's one that says Sora, 15,000 people. I'm like, that has credibility. I ask it to create a video. It asks me back some clarifying questions. So I'm like, this is so cool. I answer the clarifying questions, right? And then it says, okay, so we created this video for you with these specifics about character, scene, background noise, cinematic style, like all of these things. I'm in, right? And then it gives me the link to my video, which is titled, by the way, as if it's a real movie. I click on it and I freaking get rickrolled. It's Rick Astley. I'm never going to give you up video. I'm like, I just got rickrolled by AI. I mean, honest to goodness, friends. So I sit back, I call Tim. I'm like, you're not going to believe what just happened. And meanwhile, I write in the response, are you kidding me? And they're like, yes, sorry, that was the point. I'm like, seriously, internet pranks. So
that's interesting. Hey, Carly, can you put the link to the tweet that was in the main thread?
In the main thread. That shows the real thing. And there's also the link.
No Rickrolling in that.
Yeah, well, I don't have the Rickroll one. That's just going away. But openai.com/Sora is actually the page, and it has a few really good examples. Mm-hmm. So there's the just some of the main ones, but it is limited to who can use this right now. It's being beta tested by professionals, not Karen in Connecticut getting rickrolled. So don't go into your ChatGPT plugins. I do not advise you experiment the way I do, because human beings will prank you.
Well, yes. Now, let's go talk about that for a second, because this really was, when I saw it, anything you have seen with AI generated video, it's nothing compared to this.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Nothing. The quality, it is seamless. It is vivid. It is amazing.
Yeah.
Here's what I expect to see very soon from people in the research industry, particularly if you're in ad testing.
Yep.
You've embedded this into your platforms and allows for rapid iteration and testing of creative in real time among populations.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. Now, but here's interesting too. So if you're in eye tracking or facial coding, you damn well better be testing against this to see how well your technology can determine whether it is a real human or AI generated, because in looking at it, I couldn't tell the difference. Especially
in this video that Carly just shared, the one that you found on Twitter, the second human who doesn't have the beard. I had to watch it several times because I thought
it was an actor.
Hey, that looks like an actor. That looks like an actor. And it took me back. I'm like, that is well done.
Yes.
Fascinating. Yeah, the implications of that. I'm glad I'm not in the entertainment industry, but it'll be important to watch how this works. And then also for people, who are coding, virtual environments. I think, from a research standpoint, like, take a look. This is an immersive environment. I mean, this is cinematically amazing. So,
stuff. So let's talk real quick. And OpenAI is trying to raise $1 trillion.
Yeah.
And you see that, they go, oh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well,
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, these set aside all the other considerations, this is utterly transformative technology that now is reaching a level of maturity already.
Yeah.
Good, bad, or indifferent. Set
Yeah.
that aside, right? Those are still topics that need to be addressed,
Yeah.
but the core abilities of these technologies to impact every aspect of our world is
Yeah.
happening faster than we can even comprehend.
Yeah.
And for a company that owns that tech like
Yeah.
they do,
Yeah.
raising $1 trillion to have a multi-trillion-dollar valuation
Yeah.
probably isn't so stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
No, I know. And, jumping ahead to this Gartner report,
yes,
there's a Gartner report on emerging tech. It came at me through, oh my gosh, now I'm not remembering the name of the company. An email, Robot Data. Is that actually it? Anyway, I downloaded the report. There's a link to it there. I think you probably can all click right on that link to
yep,
get it. If it asks you to sign up, download it because it's worth reading. It shows, generative AI applications across sectors, and some of them are really relevant to our industry, and the report shows not just key findings, but also recommendations. So, one of them for all of you who are in the marketing space, a key finding, AI generated marketing content has emerged as the most technically mature use case to serve creative augmentation, but remains nascent in market value and adoption. It does go on to kind of give recommendations around this, which is, basically saying, lean in, folks, which is what Lenny and I have been saying, create opportunities for product differentiation in marketing and advertising software by incorporating Gen AI for all digital marketing software in the next 12 months.
hmm
Like they're talking, this report, Gartner is recommending, you've got a year here, friends. And that I think is really important. Talking about AI avatars
yep.
and the importance of AI avatars. I mean, accelerate your adoption of that, if nothing else. It's good and an important report for those of you who are tracking along with us
Yep.
this adoption curve. It's a big deal.
And it's probably one segue even into the kind of the end of the show. This morning I was reviewing
Yeah.
the sponsors at IEX
Yeah.
North America with Dana.
Yeah.
Shout out Dana Stanley, our chief revenue officer. I pride myself, and the industry assumes that I know everybody. I'll tell you what, there are so many suppliers that are sponsoring IEX that I've never damn heard of.
Yeah. Yeah.
And almost all of them
Yeah.
are AI centric.
Yeah.
So I was blown away
Yeah.
by how many new companies
Yeah.
are sponsoring IEX North America.
Yeah.
And that's wonderful, healthy for the ecosystem.
Yeah.
But to your point, right, if we are not leaning in, just as we've seen with other areas of technological change in the research industry, um, if you're a supplier, you can't sit back. You
Yeah.
just can't,
Yeah.
guys. You've got to get a handle on this and start thinking forward. And brands certainly are exploring this as well. And the pace of change is so rapid, we
Yeah.
cannot expect it to be like previous eras where it took years.
Yeah.
It is not taking years; it is taking months.
Yeah, and what
Um,
I'm seeing in submission titles, or I'm sorry, speaking session titles and descriptions around AI are very tangible. People
yep,
are, fortunately, because we've also advised them not to do this. Like, we're not talking about basics anymore. We are getting into nitty gritty. We are showing use cases. We've got some suppliers who are coming on stage with their brand partners to talk about very specific use cases of how AI is manifesting in the work that they're doing. It's going to be North America in particular, although there is some APAC is first. Thanks, Carly. I was
there
going
we
to
go.
say
Thanks,
APAC.
Carly. Yep.
But North America in particular, I kept thinking, well, we'll have an AI track. Maybe we'll have 2 AI tracks. And then I'm like, there's going to be a sprinkling of all of these use cases throughout the event. It is, not to toot our own horns, but also to toot our own horns. Like, it is going to be a place to learn where we're headed, what the competition is doing, what the industry leaders are doing, what the early adopters are doing. It is really going to be something. And again, we have some of that in Asia. So if you're at our APAC event coming up fast in Bangkok, March 5th and 6th, yeah, that's going to going to be a big deal for us. We have some great brands on stage there. I'm really excited to go personally, so I will be welcoming everybody to that one. And yeah, North America, I just can't say enough about it. It's turning out to be a good show.
Yeah, and I know we're at time. I want to add a little something to the little history, right? Those who've been around for a while know I created IAX for this very reason, right? 10 years ago, to have a place to showcase innovation. That's what it stands for: Insight, Innovation, Exchange, and new companies. And we've done a phenomenal job of doing that over the years, and we have helped incubate and propel many new, at that time, emerging companies, startups into, leadership positions, and help. That's what we do.
Yeah.
The time we are at now feels like everything that we started IAX for 10 years ago at warp speed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, just on steroids across the board. And so really, I'm not trying to pitch. Well, I am pitching IAX, but but seriously,
it is our prerogative.
It is, right. It is, because that's it's how we get paid, so we can do this. But I'm telling you, industry, you must go where the innovators are. They are not only at IAX, but they are mostly at IAX because we built the event to be that way.
Yeah. And if you don't know, let me just also shout out that our competition is in full force. So, our Insight Innovation competition is, where we showcase some of the best. So if you are listening and you are a startup, if you are one of these people who's using AI and you've got a great startup and you're looking for a plat time, head to our website. Carly can probably share the link to the competition itself, and go ahead and get yourself entered in there, because what we unveil when we bring those finalists to the stage there will probably be the newest, hottest, best of the best.
Yes, so many leading companies started there. So Zappy, Remesh, Highlight. I mean, so many over the years started as entrants in the Insight Innovation competition. So yes, please do that. We are at time, a little bit over time, but we covered.
You want to show those dates to after APAC in North America, we switched to Europe and LATAM call for speakers is still out, so I just want to point people towards that as well. We're looking for people to join us in Miami with their focus on the insights innovation work that's happening in the Latin American region. Also, Carly did share the code exchange for 20% off general administration for all of our 2024 events across the board. If you're listening in and you don't have a code to register, use exchange, and that will get you a discount. Yep.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe, and hit that notification button. So thank you guys. And when we get off on these soapbox things, it's because we love you. It's tough love.
Yeah. So. I don't think it's tough at all. I think it's good. I think that we're letting people know this is what you need to be paying attention to. Lenny and I spend a significant portion of our weeks each week making sure that we can synthesize it all for you. So give us that feedback, the exchange at greenbook.org. If you want more or less of a certain something, if there's something we can be doing better for you, we are still a prototype on some level, and we want to make it the best it can be for you.
And we're still humans. We are humans. This is real. There is no.
Sometimes I wonder about you, but definitely me.
And we'll see where we get to in the next few months. Anyway, that's it. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend, everybody.
All right. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Lenny.